And we're live. So welcome to the Curiosity and Command podcast, supported by Kaizen Summit. In each episode, we sit down with thoughtful people to explore leadership, discipline, growth, and the ideas that shape how we live and work. This week, I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Ben Rogers.
Hello.
Hello, my friend. Can you give us a quick wave top view of where you've come from and how we've got here today?
Yeah, we were just talking about how brief or not brief to make this. So, where do I come from? I was born in Hemel Hempstead. I moved to Devon with my mum when I was 9 years old. And ever since, for as long as I can remember, all I've wanted to do is make films and act in films, film films, and I've been obsessed with it as long as I can remember. I always think, why? I don't know why. Apparently, I used to just watch films on repeat constantly. And as I got older and as life became more and more real, I started to realize, oh, hang on a second, like, I need money to do this. I need to, like, invest in equipment to, like, there's always, you always can make excuses as well. So I was like, I need to invest in equipment to make these films. So I did some, jobs here and there. I worked at Morrison's and Weatherspoons and stuff. And then, so my dad, again, my whole life's been the fire service. Well, I think once I was driving home from seeing my dad up in Hertfordshire, I was driving home and I saw an RTC and there was like all the blue lights, raining, it was nighttime. It just looked cool. And that is the catalyst that made me think, oh, hang on a second, like dad has 4 days off. He does carpentry in his days off. He gets the money from the fire service. He's works in his four days off. That sounds great. So then I was like, okay, I can do that. I can hopefully try and get into the fire service. So I get in, save up some money, buy some equipment, and then do the filming on the 4 days off. And somehow I did that. And yeah, so I've been obviously in the fire service and doing the filmmaking at the same time. I sort of, if you'd asked young Ben, like, if you said to young Ben, you've been making this money doing these corporate films and everything, he'd be, oh my God, amazing. Like, that's amazing. Like, this is what I saved the money for, so I can create things. But now I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with the corporate stuff. I'm done with the commercial stuff. I'm done. Like, I've just, as I've grown, I guess, tastes have changed, things have changed, and I don't do any of that. I don't do any corporate stuff, any commercial stuff. I just want to do narrative filmmaking. So like TV, documentary, like feature films, short films, music videos, where you have more creative control. So yeah, and now find myself in a position of taking the pay cut from doing less corporate stuff, but then the fire service is there to, have that solid, stable income. Somehow, I've been making stuff for like over 10 years. It was a kid, so all my life, like just make it. I was looking back at my old YouTube videos that I'd made with my friends. Like, I look back, it's awful, obviously, but I'm quite proud that like we did that together and made something. But yeah, so I'm directing my first feature film this year, and it's got funding. I keep saying about imposter syndrome, it's real, and I'm not saying it to just sound like humble. Do you know, people, but I really mean it. It feels really odd. Because some days I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Like, sorry, I was like, yeah,
I can tell you like,
oh sweet. I was like, yeah, fuck it. I like, but I've always wanted this. I've put in the hours and stuff. But then some days I'm like, oh my God, like this doesn't feel normal. Like, I don't know how this has happened. And people say supportive things and people support you, and it's great. I love that, but it all doesn't make it any easier. But that doesn't mean it's bad. I think it's yeah, it's an interesting and exciting journey. That's what I like. To be honest, I don't like talking. I don't like talking about myself. I don't like talking about the past. But because of this project, I'm like, no, I'm going all in. I want to like try and talk to as many people as I can about it to get eyes on it. And it's a form of marketing, I guess. And that's what I've been open with that. I want to try and do my best to be resourceful with like people that I'm friends with, people that I know, like yourself, and try and just talk about it. Because normally I like, even like, we know this, like I didn't really post on Instagram. I don't post on Instagram. My website is like got work that's like 5 years out of date. I've got loads of work that I can put on there, but I just don't do it because I'm sort of like, again, I'm like, yeah, fuck socials, fuck all that stuff. Just want to, that's why I want to come here and do it in person because I like doing.
There is a lot to be said for that, like humility of being the quiet professional. That really resonates with me. However, comes a point where you do need to get out of your comfort zone and embrace that imposter syndrome. So how does imposter syndrome show up for you, and what are you doing about it?
That's a good question. I guess for me, it shows up in moments of quiet between doing things. So I'm working on the project, working on the film, doing the script breakdown, doing the pre-production, having these meetings and everything. In the meetings, having the talks, it's all great. And then coming out of that, I'm like, what am I on about? Like, what am I talking about? Like, what am I, who am I, do you know what I mean? I'm like, it's when you have that moment yourself that normally immediately after a big meeting or like when we got when we got the funding for the film, I just couldn't believe it. I was like completely in disbelief. Like that's like, I don't know, of anyone. I mean, everyone in the film industry, in any whatever department they're in, all have their own unique stories. It's all very different. There's the people that start as runners and they work on huge film sets and they work their way up from the bottom, a bit like the fire service, starting at the bottom, do every sort of role, go to different departments, which is great because they have a great understanding of the machine that is making films. But then you have people that they might make a short film and it goes on YouTube and it does really well. And a studio goes, what's that? Who did that? And then they pick that person up. That could be some, or so Backrooms, there's a film that's coming out. That was a YouTube video made by, at the time, I think he must have been like 18. Or so I could be completely wrong, but it's a feature film. A24 studio picked it up. It's coming out in cinemas. I might already be out as we're filming this. Yeah, so it's such a vast array of different routes into the industry, into different parts of the industry. And I'm very aware that this, going back to the imposter syndrome, I'm very aware of how unique this is. And I'm like, why has this happened to me? Like, what, like, why? Like I say, I have to remind myself, and you have good people around you that sort of like back you and support you, which is great. But it's when you're sort of like laying there at night, always thinking about stuff, and it's just, you sort of catch yourself in a spiral of oh, is this like, I can't do this. Like that's what I'm like, I can't pull this off or whatever. But then I'm like, no, I can. Like I can. But then saying that feels like maybe egotistical. So like I'm like, and then so it's this constant vicious circle of like, yeah, I can do this. I'm confident. So that's too confident. Then I would look stupid if I fail, if I fail or whatever. That's like the ego's getting too big. But then it's like, oh no, I can't do this. Like I can't do this. But I would say it's always immediately. So right now, like I'm feeling pretty good about it. But it's always after like those, like you have meetings with like the production team, the producers and stuff, and you're talking about things that are quite like filming in America and stuff, and the logistics of that, and insurances and visas and casting and stuff. And this is a perfect example of the imposter syndrome. So we put our casting call on different. So in America we've got one there, and in England, and we put it out on a thing called Spotlight, Backstage. I'm not in. We've got someone, Tim, doing the casting. Then obviously we filter them to the people that are right for the role, and then audition, and then we sort of select from there. And looking through, there's really talented people sending in their self-tapes. We've already said, yeah, you look great. Like you look like you'll be perfect for the part. They're sending the tape. So like I was watching, like last night, even at the fire station, I was watching, I just feel like, who am I to like tell this person whether they're right for the role or not right for the role? And ultimately, like filmmaking is a director's medium. So like, although you have to listen to everyone and think what's best for the story and stuff, there needs to be a decision that's made. But I'm like, what? Like, I'm just watching it and I'm like, what a talented person, whether they're right or not for the role. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. It's weird. I've never done a full casting process like that before. I've only ever had, people that are willing to work, because obviously it's paid. So people that are willing to work for free and short projects, and people that will work for a really reduced rate that aren't union minimums. That's just, like for fun. Whereas this is a proper project. So I guess it's like the first time ever. Well, it's the first feature. So it's a little bit unknown, although it's very similar. But there's different people from different backgrounds. And there's someone like on the production team, Charlotte, who's worked for BBC for 15 years. and again, having conversations with her, I just feel like this is crazy. Like, you got so much industry experience, you got so much experience. And it's just, you see?
But isn't that exciting?
It is exciting. Yeah, it's
You know?
exciting. And I learned so much from her, but I think that she learns from other people on the team, like myself, and because we just do things differently. The independent filmmaking, thing, it's very different to how, ITV or BBC are going to make a project or produce a show because of money and time and the amount of people you have involved. Although we've got like a budget, it's still considered very, very low budget indie film. Yeah, every penny counts. I'm basically just going to sing about this this project for as long until until it's over and done and made, and whatever happens. The plan is to take it to film festivals, and then just see what happens. We'd like to, obviously, I just want to make a good film. That's the bottom line. Just make a good film that I'm proud of, and see what happens.
I think that's how you will find the right people for it, is by trusting your gut. You're the one with a vision, and it's marrying up those people that will bring that vision to life, and that fit. I think it's going to be very much on a feel thing. You're going to know, and it sounds very wishy-washy, but I do believe that, you could have incredibly talented people, but the feel just isn't quite right. And I think it'll be exciting to find that bit. Before we go into the film, can you circle back to the start when you're talking about as a child being really interested in film? What was it about film in particular that you were like, just absolutely resonates and lit a fire underneath you?
It's a really difficult question. It's something that I have contemplated for a long time. As I've grown up, I thought, what is it about film and sitting there and being lost in stories? Because everyone, like, this human nature, right? We, like, for thousands of years, that is how we've evolved as people, telling stories. So it's not a unique thing to love that as a kid, obviously. But I don't know. Like, my earliest memory in my whole life is watching a film, is Harry Potter. Like, my mum and dad, they're not together anymore, but I say to both of them, and so I think we only lived in that house until I was less than 2 years old. And I can remember the layout of the room exactly, because I remember the TV was. It was like a small little cube box TV on top of the drawer. And I remember watching, like, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on the little cube TV. And I remember the scene where Voldemort goes up to the house and they're like, no, you don't. No. And I'm like, no, I can take you come in the door. The bed was like a double bed. It was on the left there. Then you had like a set of drawers that were really, like, quite tall, and then the TV was up there. And they were like, both like, yeah, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah. So, and I don't know, maybe I think some people are just, do you know, like how, because I like to deep things, obviously. I think that's part of filmmaking. And obviously, like, some people are just naturally bought, like, you're going to love rugby, or you're going to love, you're going to love that sport, or you're going to love film. So there's that aspect. But I think that I watch a lot of film for my dad. Like, so that's a key one, isn't it? For guys and stuff, things they do with their parents, especially their dad, for a guy. So I used to watch, like, my dad would take me to the cinema quite a lot. So maybe I associate that time with him going to the cinema, and I used to love it. And I used to, like, I'd see a film, I'd come out, like, acting out the scene straight away and stuff. I'd always be asking him about what things meant, if I don't understand them. And I guess maybe that, again, I'm literally, as we're doing this, I'm, like, thinking about this right now as we speak. But then on a more something I've thought about a little bit more in terms of why I love it so much is, and I think this does go back to being a kid as well for everyone, is I love that films, when they're really good, and especially when you're younger, they, like, become part of you and they take you in to the film. So what I mean by that is, you never went on a treasure hunt with your friends and found a load of Spanish gold in a cave and you were chased by some, like, American, Italian mobsters. But if you watched The Goonies, you did. You went with those kids, you were in the tunnels, you did all the little puzzles to get through, you played the piano, the floor was falling down, you went down the slide and you found the huge ship in the cave that had been, trapped in there. And like, I hope that, well, you live to an old age, that when I think back to that film, it becomes more of a memory of, like, what, like, you sort of, you went on that adventure with them. And I think that there's something in that of like pure escapism of when you turn on Spider-Man, to feel what it's like to have the freedom to like swing through the city, and I guess just vicariously live through the characters and save people and stuff. It's like great, and it blends into your memory of, it's like you you never save someone from the Green Goblin throwing bombs, but like you can, as you get older, like, I don't know, it becomes a part of you. And that's what I think I love about films so much, is that the memory of them.
Mm.
I think more so than the actual, and that's the truth now, like, because you can watch your favorite film, it's not the same. You can have a favorite film and everything, but I would say The Goonies is my favorite film of all time. And well, I love watching it. I can watch it and repeat, but it's not the same as the memory of it. I probably it's the same for a lot of people. Lots of films.
That capturing that right feel at that right time,
like,
that really resonates with you.
Like, I remember I was going to see Spider-Man 3 at the cinema with my dad, and he took me out of school early or whatever to go and see it. The memory, I'll never forget that. Like, it was, I think he tried to say I was like unwell or something, but like I was obviously like, oh, I'm fine. I think he told me, like, he said, you're going to be unwell at this point or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we went and saw Spider-Man 3 in Luton Cinema, Cineworld or something. And I remember that, and I love the film. And I remember, but there's a few things that I remember from that film, and when I rewatch it, they all come back to me. All that thing with my dad's, just the scene of him on the cobweb at night where it opens up and the meteor comes down. But I like that when you think back to a film, what's some of your favorite films?
So one that really sticks out is The Green Mile.
Yeah,
for
that's
me,
good.
like, because I watched it alone and in like completely dark room, and I was spellbound to it, and it was, I think, way too quickly, and it's a long film as well, but I was completely absorbed in this story, and that's really stuck out for me because of the way that film made me feel. And I like the saying, you don't remember what people say, but you remember the way they made you feel.
Oh, a million percent. And that's that is films. And I think, especially now, like in 2026, I was talking about this at work this morning, just how quickly things change. And I think especially in the period, like for me, is that when I was like growing, I'm really aware of it now, that like it was just constant, really fast innovation, like PlayStation. Like, so you have like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, all in this space of relatively, short space of time. I feel like it's tailed off a tiny bit, but then AI crops up. So like, I think now it's like, to be able to like, I think everyone's attention span, and me included, is just frazzled. Like, you're just that constant dopamine of like, ooh, oh, look at that, So I think that like going to the cinema or like actually locking in on a film is great. And even at the fire station, right? So like, it's like a night shift, and like last night we watched a film. Normally they let me pick a film, which is like quite cool. But I picked The Accountant last night. Have you seen The Accountant?
No.
Ben Affleck. And I always try and get a film that like gets people off their phone, because everyone's like, it is, they're all like, oh yeah, or working in your case.
Yeah.
Also, mostly the cinema. I tried to do some work if I can, and everyone was like hooked on it. It was such a good film. The Accountant is such a clever fit. It's great. I love it. Like they're one of the opening scenes. They're making a puzzle, and it's all just upside. It's up. Well, it just looks white. It's completely upside down, and obviously the kid has autism and he can't finish the puzzle. It's a big character thing for Ben Affleck's character. He's trying to, he's missed the last piece of the puzzle, and you're like, he's just doing a white part. Like, why is he doing that? And then he puts it in, and then it shows it's a glass table, and underneath it's the Muhammad Ali, and it's just great. It's so good. It's so surprising. It's like the characters are so interesting. The storyline's good. It's emotionally gripping. It's great, and everyone was hooked. So I do think that like maybe I think to get people's attention now, it's never been harder. because there's so much stuff, isn't there? It's constant, you know. But then I think like really good films just can captivate straight, like regardless of whether you're watching a laptop, your phone, or whatever. I mean, it's hard on that because notifications come up. Yeah.
I definitely think there's a move back towards having long form.
Yeah.
There is, people are crying out for it.
Yeah.
To tell a real story, you need to get that investment, don't you, from people. Passion sells. That's what I love about your work, is you're passionate about what you do, and that is very enticing. But I do think people need this time to build up the suspense, and you can't do that in a short.
Do you know how, like, we know eating too much McDonald's is not good for us? We are starting to know that so much dopamine constantly from scrolling is not good for us. So I think I think their shift away to the long form stuff, to stuff that you can like completely lose yourself in, is hopefully going to have I feel like this is a bit of a resurgence now in a positive way. I do think that IMAX, that's an amazing film medium, and Chris Nolan's new film, The Odyssey, is completely shot on it, and it's amazing. It's like they've shot on film. I think it's like 65mm film or 70, and it's just the whole purpose of it is to completely like engross you in this film, and you can see it in the cinema, surrounded by other people who are, you know, all focusing on this thing together, because it's so rare. Like, it's like really like now to have people not on their like, because even at like, you think a music festival, an event, people on their phone, the whole crowd. And I always see pictures, again, the algorithm knows me, and I'm always seeing stuff of like back in the 80s or 90s and to now, and it's like they've all got the lighters, and then now it's all the phones, and I'm like, there's something
it
lost
feels
there,
very disconnected,
you know? But we've never been so connected, and the disconnect it's interesting, isn't it? It's paradoxical. It's but that's, well, to talk more about the feature that I'm directing, a big part of that film which drew me to it and has inspired me massively is what this subject of like the disconnect there is now. And so I didn't write the film. It's written by a really good writer and actor and a close friend, Tim. And one of my notes was, it was set in modern time, but it's a very intimate character. It's, you know, it's a drama. And I was like, let's set it in the 90s. I think it's achievable on a budget, like on our budget, because it's not like the 80s. It's not, that's very heightened. It's got a look, doesn't it? But the 90s is more like people dress, you know, sort of, you know, going baggy trousers again, and it's that way now. And I think that for me, I was obviously born in the late 90s, so I got the very tail end. And there's a thing of like, so I've got like as I grew up, the last bits of like, I remember Blockbuster and like VHS and stuff, and I love all that stuff. It's very nostalgic, and I think there's something about, I want to try and make a film that reminds us of what we've lost, and do it in a way that's hopeful, and not just like, I was going to go full like Metropolis, which is a film in the 1920s. It's very sort of dystopian, I guess, at the end. But I want to keep it hopeful, because I think people realising, aren't they, that being hyper connected and constantly on scrolling, it's not great, but it's so good. It's so good.
That's super engineered to be that way.
Yeah. So it's impressive.
Can you talk about how the feature film came about then? What were the steps that got you involved in it then?
Yeah. So I guess it would have come about from, like I said, from making films from a young age, and like being completely obsessed with films, storytelling, and just filmmaking in general. So that has been all I've ever wanted to do. Obviously, I've made different projects with different people, made short films, directed short films, written stuff, worked commercially. I'm trying to remember back to get the timeline right of how this happened. So I made a film a couple of years ago now with Tim, the writer of the feature. He was the lead actor in it. That film was received quite well. Went to my first time going to LA, went there to a film festival, won an award. It won a few other awards, but I didn't attend the festivals. And so that was a really good thing. It was I always wanted that. It was amazing. Like I felt really proud of myself and everyone who helped make that happen. Like everyone, that was involved. And
I'm really glad you said that you're proud of it, because I remember that that time when you got it, and it was such a big deal, and it was fantastic to see you be recognised for the dedication and the passion that you've got.
Thank you.
And I think as a culture, we don't take the wins and it's not to rest on your laurels and be like, oh, completed it now, but to appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think you should be very proud of it. It was an excellent achievement to make.
Thank you. And I think, like you say, that that's a whole other topic, isn't it, about especially British culture, and not because I'll go off in tangents. I've got to try. I should write down what I'm talking about. I'll go back to the film, but I was going to say that I was filming a project in Paris, and they had an American team there. They were launching this product, and the American team gave a really nice presentation. They're amazing at presentations. They're great. They're really nice people as well. And it was just such a good show. The whole thing, the whole presentation was great. And I just remember there's like then the English team, British, like sort of branch of the company who were there on the table. And it was great. I was like thinking, wow, that really good. Wow. And then the British people went, yeah, but what about this, and the NHS and this? And then it was like, it just brought everything right back down. But they weren't wrong in what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, mate, I don't know, maybe that should have been like art, like not so, because that was in front of the whole, everyone from all different countries, all around the world. Maybe it was Europe. But I think it was around the world. And it was just, I was like, that is so British, isn't it? That's so like, and sometimes it's really good having that, but sometimes you need the positivity and I guess, showmanship isn't the right word, but yeah, that positivity and sort of, it's good. But then you hear people then on the other hand, Max, obviously you introduced me to, who lives in LA. Like one of the things I remember him saying, and I've heard other people say this as well, and it's not exclusively to America or LA, because I know it happens in London, but he says that you'll hear a lot of yeses in those places, but they're meaningless. It won't come to fruition, or they're lying, or it's yes. Whereas back in the UK, you hear no, and then when you do hear a yes, it's like, yeah, that's
you're in.
So there's something in that, but I've gone off topic.
I would love to see more celebration of successes.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah,
definitely. I think it's good to be hypercritical, and I think that you should be very critical of yourself. But when you have the opportunity to take a win and appreciate that, great.
Yeah.
But then move on and what's next?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's
the dichotomy. It's this perfect balance.
So obviously the film was well received. And then sometimes sort of there was just, like I met different people and you have different conversations with different people. And then shortly after that, a screenplay, I'd been sent a few different screenplays, but Tim had sent me this one. It's called Dragonflies, the film. And I read it. I actually read it at your fire station, Camel's Head. I think I started it before, then I was on out duty there. So I finished it there. And then I called Tim straight away to be like, I fucking love this. This is really cool. I just thought, I was like, what's going on with it? Is it like, what's like, you sent it to me? He's like, I want some feedback. So I gave him some feedback. And he was like, well, we could try and get it made and stuff. And I was like, yeah, because this is like, it's a really, really clever screenplay. There's a lot of depth, it's an interwoven anthology drama. So there's 12 strangers and they are basically all trapped in these environments. Different, there's like 2 people in each environment. So like a lift breaks down, there's 2 people stuck in there. And it's all about how those small like encounters you have with people like change your life without you noticing. And then when you think back, you'd be like, oh, do you remember any conversations that you had with strangers or someone, that changed your life? And I think that's, for me, is probably a handful, if that, like maybe 2 times I can remember. There'll be times that I don't remember, but that's sort of what the film was about. And it was just very clever because like it could be done at a very small budget. Because although there's 12 characters in it, 6 locations, it's just very clever. There's like it's sort of like a mystery that's threaded throughout the narrative, because you don't quite know who everyone is and how they're connected, and you sort of learn as the conversations go on. So someone will be like, oh yeah, my dad, had an affair with my mum and stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then you'll be with someone, you're like, that's the dad. And then you'll be with someone else and you'll be like, that's the mum. But you don't realise straight away, and it's quite satisfying. But it's a very clever screenplay. So yeah, like I say, I read that at your fire station, called Tim, we had a really positive hours and hours long chat into the middle of the night, because he was away with his family somewhere in South America. And then I basically went away, thought about the film. I think I came up with we set up a meeting with an executive producer who we thought might be interested in producing the film. So I went away and made like a treatment pitch deck kind of thing, which is like a document that basically outlines like, this is to show you my vision for the film, like it's quick in 10 minutes almost. So I went away, did that, and then I essentially pitched the film. I pitched the film to the executive producer, and she really liked it. She really liked the screenplay, because it's a great screenplay by Tim. She saw something in the pitch that I'd delivered and she was like, yeah, let's make it. Let's get the funding sorted, and we'll get the funding and make it. So that's essentially how it came about. After that, because the money, the budget was discussed. And she was like, yeah, we'll do that. And I was like, what? I was like, because it was on a Zoom meeting. I was like, oh yeah, mate, thank you so much. And then we went off, and I was like, oh my, I was like, what? That's my dream. That's to have someone fund a feature, because lots of people have to self-fund, or you need to have some financial backing, have your self-fund or financial backing from somewhere, or get discovered by so yeah, couldn't believe it. Still can't believe it. And we were meant to be shooting the film in September this year.
So from that initial conversation, what was your next step? Because obviously from there on, that's all new territory.
I'm still figuring out as I'm going along, to be honest, genuinely. So the next step from then was okay, I need to just get my head around this is actually happening. And it's still, I think that initially it still didn't feel like anything was happening, because nothing had changed, nothing nothing has changed now. I'm still going to the fire station and stuff. But I think something just in my head was okay, this is going to happen. I've obviously had conversations with I think I had a conversation with my mum, my partner Sophie, my sister Amy, and some close friends, Brandon being one of them. And basically just to talk through, I think we had, again, I could talk for ages about with the conversations we had, and it was all about life and our relationship. And it was really made me think. It felt like a big moment. And that was, yeah, it was just, I don't know. I really just had to, it was I just want to tell these people, and I was excited. And then I think after that initial excitement, I was like, oh, okay, right, I've actually got to make this. And then the pressure is on. There is, I'm applying pressure to myself. I think sometimes, me included, pressure is, you don't really want pressure all the time. Pressure's a bad thing, but it is good, right?
Depends on your framing of it.
And I feel the pressure 100%. I said that to executive producer. I was like, I feel the pressure, but I'm happy, very happy. And I just want to try and make the best film possible. And like I said, I've said to you before we started filming, but it does feel like I've just got to execute. I've just got to do the best I can, and if I'm good enough, it will hopefully progress on to the next thing. If I'm not good enough, I'll learn loads and I'll get better next time. And I think that's quite liberating, just having that, and I believe that's that's pretty a nice feeling. We're gonna make it. It's right, there's a lot of work ahead, every day. I think every day, I think like yourself, constantly. I'm coming up with new films and I was trying to write every day for even 10 minutes. I can't do that now, because I'm I was bad, and I want to. And I hope that in the future I can continue to juggle better. But I'm no, I need to lock in and focus on this. So all that being said, I procrastinated and made some. I've been working.
It's not like you.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I procrastinated and I've directed a short film that kind of is a failure. But it's not really. It's how you frame it, isn't it? And how you learn from it. And then another one, spontaneous film. It was really misty. And we thought, let's just go and film something, and we did. And it turned out pretty all right. And I've just got to finish that off. I told myself it's just, practicing for the film. To be fair, I did try out a few things that I want to try out for this film. But yeah, a lot of thought has gone into this now. Like I just spend a lot of time walking around thinking, a lot of time like thinking about how am I actually going to how is this, because I'm producing the film as well with the other producers. How am I going to produce this? How am I going to be the best director for myself, the best director for the film, the best director for everyone involved? And the answer is, I've just got to try be myself, try my hardest, and be honest with people and stuff. And I just want to enjoy it. I want everyone else to enjoy it, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be like a fun process, and I think there's a lot of it's going to be a climate. It's going to be tough to make. Just logistically, we got to make every penny stretch, which that's quite new to me, like insurances, things like that. But then on a practical thing, like from a filmmaker perspective, as soon as it was really done some work before the meeting where it was greenlit, breaking down the screenplay, breaking down each character, breaking down each scene, doing a storyboards, doing a shot list that is still being revised now. Like how to make a film that I would want to see, that surprises me, that fills me with joy, that fills me with sadness, because the script has all of that there. So trying to bring it out in a unique way, because I want it to be unique. I want it to be unique because I like that. When I see a film that does something that's a little bit different, but it's still not. This might, there's films I like that do things like The Sinners. Ryan Coogler film came out last year. So I went to cinema with friends. I guess it was quite a mainstream film, but under that it was different. The film felt very different. It felt very new, and the friends that I went with, who are just more, they go and see superhero films, like when they come out, not to discredit, but they're just, busy people and everything. That's what they love. And I like going to see that stuff as well. They were like, that was so weird. Everyone kept saying it was so, I was like, but you liked it though? Like, yeah, I loved it. And they kept saying it was so weird. And I was like, yeah, it was weird. It was different. It was like, because it's not the normal thing you would maybe go, like mass audience would go and see. But it is, obviously, because everyone did go and see it. So yeah, trying to just think about how can this, on this budget that we have, how can this be amplified? How can that be more surprising visually? How can that, work? And that I'm constantly, that's right now, as we speak, I'm still going to go away today and be thinking about how can I get this, to a place where I'm like, right, this is it. This is the shot list. This is the storyboard. This is the finalized stuff. And even then, when we go and make it, we're going to have problems 100% and just adapt. And whoever's got the best idea that works for the story, doesn't matter who they are. It could be the person serving in the co-op for the snacks. Just,
You've touched on there, like the mindset of coming into this with your eyes wide open, I feel. And how are you going to make sure you execute on what you're talking about?
I think that's a good question. It's difficult to answer because I think the first initial thought to that question is, I don't know. Just going to try and do it, which is not, then I'm like, that's not good enough. So for me, like practically, it's, I guess it's accountability to things. That's find this location by this time. And if it's not done, taking accountability for like, it needs to be done. That's on me. We'll figure this out quick now. I guess that's a practical way that I would do it. But I guess it's about for me, it's trying to lean on people as much as possible. And there's a really good team that we have. You've got obviously the executive producers. You've got like Tim, the writer, who's obviously doing the casting. Finley, who's in Nashville, who's doing casting and producing and second unit directing. Charlotte, who's the line producer. And these other friends who are going to be a part of the project in multiple capacities. My partner Sophie, who's going to be doing all the costume design and stuff. I think, what's the question again?
How are you going to execute on the plan that you're setting out And I think you hit the nail on the head there, because you mentioned it now a couple of times. You've got an outstanding team.
Yeah.
And to pull off a project like this is so big. And it's the first time you've done it. I think you're answering your own question, because it's the people.
Yeah.
And giving them the opportunity to fulfill their role as good as they can be.
Yeah. That is the key. That is the key. The people. And I'm really interested, because I feel like someone has invested in me. They've seen something and they've invested and they give me an opportunity, which I feel very lucky. I really feel lucky. And I just think that I've wanted this. Do you know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want someone to be like, I believe in you. Here you go. And it's like, but I want to be able to be like, okay, now we're going to make this film. There's people out there like me, like how I felt in that position, and who just want someone to believe in them and see something in them. And it's great now I was to sort of direct and produce and stuff to try and find these people. And like, you have conversations and it's like, oh, so this is going to cost X amount of money. This person who has a great, that's their main, they're great. They are really good, and they work. I would obviously love to have them be a part of the project. But then I'm like, there's this person who hasn't really got the recognition, but they're really they're really talented. They can do the thing that we need, and they are more inclined to do it because they're passionate about the project and the belief that we show in them. Whereas one company might, it's their main thing. They've got to make the bill, they can make ends meet, and that's their thing, right? So finding people that want to work, be a part of something that that can excel their career. And this is, for me, like, I really just want to have people that are nice people that believe in the film, believe in the project, be involved. No dickheads. That's the only policy.
That is a great policy.
That is the only policy.
People that have buy-in and they understand the why.
Yeah.
Because when it's bigger than the money you're receiving for it, you can really give everything to it, and that's when you're not working.
Yeah. 100%. What? Yeah. I hate talking about myself. Like, I would love to talk about Kaizen Summit.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to flip, the roles are flipped.
Uh-huh.
So how have you found that executing on a plan? Like, so you've got like these plans and stuff, and things are wrong. Things have already gone wrong with this. Like, even with stuff we've done together, things go wrong, you adapt, you learn, you overcome. So like, where are you guys at now in Kaizen Summit about executing a plan, executing a thing? Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
So where we are now is we have iterated to the point where we are now ready to market. And what I wanted to do initially by launching so early on in the company was I wanted to be able to do it in real time, as long as we had the confidence and the detached view to be able to learn from our mistakes and be able to adapt quickly, but to also be reflective of why did those mistakes happen? What did we do early on? What did we not notice early on that has led to that mistake? And so that you're reducing your time between mistakes because you're understanding the process that led to that. But also the reverse of that, I wanted to understand why something was successful, not just, we had this outcome, great, and we go, but we don't know why it was a success.
Yeah.
So everything that I do now with all the mistakes that we have made and will continue to make is I want to remove the emotion from it, have that detached view and go, that mistake happened, but actually it was 4 steps before that led to that mistake, and that mistake is the outcome, but it wasn't the mistake. The mistake was here, not here. That's just how it showed up.
I see.
So it's just constantly being able to step back and view the whole layout rather than being too focused on the outcomes and the weeds.
What is something you would look out for? Take maybe something like, I don't know, past example, but like on this project, then this is mental mode now, I guess. I'm going to get some free mentorship. What is something that, as the team grows for the project, it will. Actors, people come on for crew, people come on producing aspects of the film. What things would you suggest I look out for, or everyone look? Or like any examples of like that could be applicable from Kaizen Summit into this book? Although it's a film, it's like it's like doing a little mini company for a little bit, you know? So what things would you look out for? Like what's some things that have reoccurred, or that you found the Kaizen Summit have done, or even just generally things to look out for?
Ego. And everyone needs it. It's
Mhm.
the most important thing, but you've got to understand how to control it. And in high pressure, high achieving, high performing environments, an uncontrolled ego could create misalignment, and alignment is, I think, the most important thing. Having that buy-in and explaining to people what is the mission and keeping that open line of communication and being inquisitive. People are the best and the worst.
Steven Spielberg is just calling in.
I'll pass him your number. Yeah, the uncontrolled ego, because if it becomes an empire build or become that misaligned because I think I know right and I need to prove my point and my plan and this is the way according to me, I then become blinkered to the possibilities that you've got, that she's got, that he's got.
Yeah.
And I think if you can just keep that line of communication and be inquisitive and ask those questions and go, why did you do that? What did you see that I'm not seeing? Or what was your thought process behind why you made that call?
Yeah. I guess so there's something that so instead of jumping to conclusions about things and having your own internal voice about why things are the way they are, why this happened, it's like thinking about why actually, how did that happen?
Actually ask it.
Yeah.
And
you might be thinking like, why would they park? This is a stupid example, but like, why would they park there? Well, how inconsiderate, blah, 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 they block someone in, blah, blah, blah. But then there might be a reason because someone, whatever, I understand it, okay.
Because you didn't see the pram that was
exactly, of course.
that propping out the car, so they wanted to park slightly further back because they knew that parent has got to go put the child in the back. You can't have all the answers, but having a great team around you in subject matter experts that believe in the mission, as long as you can keep those aligned. So what does success of this project look like for you? What is your mark of success?
That's a good question. God. Oh, that's such a good question. For me, making the film. Like, I know like the film's going to get made one way or another. But having a film that I can go, here you go, look at this. That would be amazing. But then I guess to be truthful and open and honest, so success would be having a good film that's received people, I want to make a film that I love, which I don't know if that's ever going to be possible. That's a whole topic. But I want to make I do want to make a film that people can see that is, I want people to like it. I want that to me is like the ultimate success, to make something that connects with people, or, people see something in it that inspires them or makes them feel sad or makes them remember something or remember someone or makes them think about something differently. That to me would be the ultimate success.
So are you making this for you?
Or
are you making this for the audience?
That's a question I think you could ask different directors this and they'd give you so many different answers, I think. And because you have people that are very much about again, just from my knowledge, I could be misquoting, misrepresenting these directors, but like, for example, I spoke about him previously, so it's in my head, Chris Nolan. I get the impression, the fact that you're choosing an IMAX camera to make this film, this huge spectacle, and that story, and the way, like, you have to have the audience in mind. You have to. But they must do, and especially with the way that even they shoot it, with like, because it's such a huge aspect ratio on a huge screen, in a real IMAX screen, they have to, they frame a lot of the shots center frames. So your head doesn't have to go like here to there, to here to there. So like a lot of the feel, like Oppenheimer, like a lot of the, singles of the characters or the focal point, the point you're focusing on the image is in the center of the frame to avoid you having to do this. Obviously, sometimes they want you to do this. So the audience is very much, I would imagine, like, we're making this for an audience. But I'm sure at the same time, everyone wants to make a film that they like themselves and loves themselves, because that's the whole, I think it's the yin and yang. But then you have someone like Quentin Tarantino, who I think famously would say, like, he doesn't care what anyone thinks. I think he wants to make a film that he loves. I'm sure he said something like that. I could be completely wrong. But I think I'm 90% sure he said something along those lines. So that's two very different views. But in saying that, as a director of a film, you need to be very, I think, this is my opinion, aware of how an audience will perceive something. Because you want to like it. Of course, I think there's something, that's what's the yin and yang of, like, I want to like this, and this might be really cool to me, but this might be way too much tension for way too much time without a release of tension and without a payoff or without a change in pace, because it's too much. Because, for example, again, another new film, I'm just talking about films I've just recently seen, but Mighty Supreme, I saw that in cinema with Sophie, my partner, and I loved it. It was great. It gave me a headache. And I can imagine, and I know other people have tried to watch it and they couldn't watch it. It was too intense. Like, the film is so intense. And I love that. But I know, I'm aware that people don't like that. But then it's like, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Because I'm like, okay, you can be making something like, this is great. Like, I love this. This is so intense, and it's for so long. But then you'll be having people, probably producers and other people, like, oh, this is for, it's gone for a long time. You can either be like, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's your take, like, when you listen to yourself, when you listen to the other people around you, when you listen to what you think an audience might think, but one audience might think is different to another audience, you can find yourself getting in loops of, am I doing this for myself, or am I doing this for the audience? And I think the answer is both. I think you have to make something that you like, and that there's no point in doing something if you don't like it. It's, how can you stand behind that? But then you have to be, like, conscious of how an audience is going to perceive something, and that's a big thing about directing, right? Because if me and you are having this conversation, we're having this shot now, so, like, we've got the two shot of us, and we're having this conversation, and we're talking about we haven't at the beginning changes everything. If I have a gun underneath this table and we see a close up of that gun, you can choose as a director to put it at the start of the scene, put it halfway through the scene, do it at the end, and it changes the audience's everything. So if you show at the start, the tension through that scene
completely changes your
perspective. If you have that normal scene, you're like, oh, this is pretty chill, and all of a sudden the gun comes out, and then it's surprised, like, oh my god. And it's like, you have to think, like, what do I like? What's my taste? What makes sense for the story? What makes sense of this character, and this scenario? And what would be satisfying for the audience? Because if you've already done that, if you've already done, like, a really tense scene where the bomb is going to go up in 3 minutes, and then you do the same kind of thing the next scene, it can become muted and dulled. So the contrast of, like, the next scene would be the surprise. It's different.
So is that, like, the journey that you're taking someone on, that, like, emotional roller coaster?
That features,
like, it can't be a...
you don't want it to be like a
flat line, or also... too intense.
Yeah. Film can be experimental, can't it? So, like, lots of people experiment and do things differently and change things. You've got different structures of film. TV has different structures to film, without getting into the nitty-gritty of structures. But yeah, I think that for me, ultimately, I do want to make something that I like, but then I'm always thinking about, I am thinking about. So, for example, the film opens very differently to how I'm going to open the film. So in the screenplay, the first line is, like, in the dead of night, establishing of a college dorm building. That's the opening shot. It's a shot of a dorm in the middle of the night with a light on. Whereas I'm like, nah, I want to create a different feeling for the audience and for myself. Obviously, I'm part of the audience, so I want to create a different feeling for the start of the film, which I want to speak to you about the podcast about. But something a bit more like start with a bang.
Yeah. Okay. So I've heard a lot recently of different leadership styles and different tactics that people have come to with projects.
Yeah.
And a story that I've heard a couple of times recently that I really enjoy is someone will come to the boss, whoever's in charge, the director, they'll hand them a piece of work, and before they look at it, the lead will go, is this your best work? And depending on that answer will then depend on the next stage.
Okay.
Yeah. I can either take that self-reflection point and be like, actually, I'll be back then, and I'll go away and I'll iterate, because I know that it wasn't my best work.
Yeah.
And then I'll come to you again a week later, or whoever it may be, and you ask me the same question, is this your best work? And again, I can go, yes, now it is. How will you know when it is your best work?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think already, I think for me now, I know it's not going to be now. I think you can make the best work as you possibly can at the time, but I hope and I will strive to make sure that always getting better, always. But I don't know. I really don't know, because I honestly, although I watch back stuff that I've made and I get an enjoyment. I think like if I didn't get enjoyment out of watching some of the stuff you've made or some satisfaction, I guess why do it? But I've never really liked something that I've made. Ever. Never. And that's not just, I'm not saying that to try and be different, cool. I know lots of people are the same.
Why?
I don't know. I think it is that constant trying to improve. I think constantly, like, it's a great thing, but it comes at the cost of that. I think, 'cause you're always looking for the next best thing. You're always looking, and I try to only keep that in the, film stuff and everything. But yeah, always trying to like get better, always see again, I'm trying to in life have the glass half full, but then when it comes to work and that, it's always glass half empty. I don't know. That's I don't really have a strong opinion on that. It doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, I just think for me, I just want to improve and make it better. And
I think your perception of that phrasing is what can turn a high achieving, high performing attitude into something that becomes destructive. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with not being satisfied, because nothing is ever perfect.
Yeah, no, exactly.
By very definition, it cannot be perfect. So there is always something, but when that consumes you.
Yeah. Well, that's the battle, I guess. That is the trying to not let that consume you. And that's what I mean, like still getting satisfaction, enjoyment, and appreciating what it is, and take inspiration from that to be like, right, I'll do the next thing and make that better. I think, yeah, lots of, especially with filmmaking and stuff and directing, it's like your life experience as well. So as you get older, you're wiser, and that, you can like, I just think it's amazing when you like look at some huge name directors that have been doing it for such a long time, and they just consistently deliver amazing work, and it just gets better and better and better. And it's good, it's because they're constantly improving, they're constantly reviewing what they've done before. And yeah, it'd be scary if I would like, again, and I know that it'd be scary if I'd be like, oh yeah, this will be it, my best work, or like, yeah, the next one will be my best work. But yeah, it is, and it is just about, not sound cliche, but it's just like the journey of making it, in it. It's just like having fun throughout the whole process and enjoying actually everything about it, and just thinking about how can we have fun, how can we be unique here, because it is fun. Like, it's amazing, what an amazing thing to do, to essentially make a piece of art and collaborate with people that all believe in this unified thing, the project. And feel very lucky to do that.
I think that's a really important detail. It should be fun.
Yeah.
You should, whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
you should make the most of it. Is it okay that it would be your best work given time constraints, funding, level of experience? Is that okay?
So I might have to, rephrase the question, sorry. So
mentally, would it be okay if this is your best work
ever made
for that project?
Oh,
do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you're going to get better unless you really take your foot off the gas.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There is always going to be iterations, but given the constraints that you have currently, could this be your best work, and could you be okay with going at that time with everything I knew, with the current technology available, with everything? This is everything I can give.
I think so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope that that's what I strive. I hope so.
then
what I'm
isn't
striving
that pretty
for.
fucking cool?
Yeah, that's cool. I'm hoping that this will be my best work that I've ever. Yeah, that many people like. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm saying yeah way too much now. Sorry.
Mate, I want to be respectful of your time. We're well over the hour mark now. Is there anything that you want to
No, I want to
cover
talk
that we haven't already?
to you more about you. I want to talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and stuff, but yeah, like we say, we are getting on for time. I have to come back. And how was this? This is the first time you've done. How's it been? Sorry for waffling on.
I would love to do it more live.
Yeah.
I think this is great to
Yeah.
get the whites of people's eyes and to be able to have a deeper connection, because you do lose something through looking
100%.
through a camera. That I can sense the pace in the language that you use and the like small mannerisms, and I think a lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot to be said. Like seeing,
touch.
feeling, touching. Yeah, like there is a lot of that. So it's been great.
Yeah, good.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, thank you. I've never done a podcast before, so no, I need to improve my podcast etiquette, because when you listen to like podcasts, they make it look so easy, don't they? But it's actually really
It is a skill.
It's a skill, even to be talking. But thank you, Ben, for having me.
Is there a question you want to ask me on jiu-jitsu before we do wrap up, or are you content?
How's it going? How are you? Are you still teaching? Are you still in trying to, how long to you progress? Are you at the max thing? What's your...
So I'm a brown belt.
Yeah.
That is a long way from the top. So the next level up would be black belt for me.
And how long are we talking?
It depends.
What, 4 years? 10 years?
It depends. Some people never achieve it.
Really?
It all depends on your journey, which is very personal to you, and your coach's philosophy and your conduct. And the higher up you go in jiu-jitsu, the more you understand it's not about the completion of the task. It's more about holding up that mirror and can you understand yourself to figure out this puzzle.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite moment, like a recent moment, something, a personal moment with someone else, someone you've taught, someone teaching you something recently, or like what do you call it? You don't call it sparring. Rolling, or a moment like that you've thought, yeah, this encapsulates what I love about.
Yeah, great question. I have them, and I don't want this to sound cliche at all, but I have one like every day, every morning.
That's cool.
And for different reasons. So this morning it is my favorite class of each cycle that we do.
Yeah.
I do a power shrimp escape, and I love that lesson because it carries over into so many different aspects of the game, but also in people's life, because you're going from a very uncomfortable situation and you're making your life easier through your actions. And you can achieve it if you remain calm and you feel that energy from your partner, and you can solve the puzzle. And when people are able to achieve it, and it's difficult, it is difficult, it's really difficult. And when people get it and they feel it, it is like a little light bulb, and there's like an energy shift in the room. So that is pretty much on a daily basis. And my other one is when Mark trains with us, because of how solutions focused he is.
Yeah.
And for him to be able to problem solve at another level to pretty much everyone else is amazing.
A few times that I filmed with Mark there, I was so aware of how like solution based he is, because being triple amputee, he like has to think of ways that are unique, different ways that aren't conventional, and it's constantly on his mind. It's very inspiring to see him figure out stuff, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. But and also as with you as well, I love watching you and Mark together trying to figure stuff out. That's very interesting as well.
Yeah, it is. I feel
you're both
like
vocalizing it between each other, then trying stuff out. It's a fascinating sport, and like even the time that I did with you and that, it was amazing to just get like thrown around and completely out of control. Amazing.
It's a spiritual sport.
Yeah. I didn't realize until I obviously met you and I had a go, and I really do want to give it as I go in, like as I sort of carry on into the future, I want to try and find a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym or some, to do it. But I want to do it. I'd rather do like you guys. But yeah, I need to get down to Plymouth.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you really do. We'll call it there. Thank you for spending the time going through that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thanks for being a great friend as well.
Yeah,
and
likewise.
It's an honour to go through this journey alongside you. And I genuinely mean it. I was over the moon when you were awarded that.
I feel it. Thank you. No, honestly, thank you for everything. I know that you're someone that I can talk to and actually listens, and it's good advice and there. And yeah, thank you, Ben. Cheers.
You're welcome. I do try, mate.